Hi, everyone, and welcome to the ELG Summit. We are so excited to have you here with us today. My name is Audrey,
And I'm Shannon.
and we'll be your host for each of today's sessions. This is going to be a day full of insights, inspiration, and connection. Think of it as a chance to step away from your day to day and really dig into what's shaping the future of customer education, community, and growth.
So, the Education Led Growth Summit is an annual event that Intellum hosts each year to showcase how businesses are using education strategically to drive impact. So, here at Intellum, we believe that education is not a support function, but it's actually a strategic lever for growth. And today, you'll hear from innovators, practitioners, industry thought leaders sharing what they're doing in their business to use education to drive significant business impact.
Okay, so here's a look at what's ahead. First and foremost, we want you to know that all of these sessions are being recorded. You will get a link to the recording at the end of the day. There are closed captions available for each of the sessions, and you can find that at the bottom of your screen on the Zoom toolbar. And all of our sessions are going to cover topics like the future of learning, real-world success stories, and practical takeaways that you can take back to your team. And of course, we're really excited about the chance to celebrate innovation and impact through our Growth Makers Awards, which will be announced very soon.
So, throughout the day, we'd love the opportunity to engage with you and hear from you. So, if you've ever been on one of Intellum's webinars before, you know that this for us is not a one-way stream of communication. We actually love the back and forth. And so, we'd like to invite you to engage with us on LinkedIn using the hashtag #EducationLedGrowth2025. So, throughout the day, we'll be posting and sharing using that hashtag. We'd invite you to do that as well. Follow that hashtag so you can engage with other people who are joining us live today. And we'll also have a friendly competition here for you to win a prize for engaging with us using that hashtag.
Amazing. We really hope that you do participate. And now, to kick things off, we're starting with a very special fireside chat. Intellum CEO Chip Ramsey will share his perspective on how the future of learning is being shaped by AI and why it's so important for all of us right here, right now, to know what's happening.
And after we hear from Chip, we're going to transition to a segment where you can hear about this year's Growth Makers Award winners. So this is always my favorite part of the Education-Led Growth Summit is the opportunity to celebrate and highlight people who are proving impact with their education programs. So you'll hear who our winners are this year, the things that they've done with their education programs, and you'll get a chance to hear from some of them either during the summit or in the coming months.
All right, so let's get started. Here's our fireside chat with Intellum CEO Chip Ramsey and our CXO Greg Rose on how the future of learning is being AI led.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Greg Rose. I'm the CXO at Intellum. I'm joined by Chip Ramsey, founder, CEO, industry innovator. We thought we would kick the summit off today talking about the one thing I think that's on everybody's mind right now, which is AI. And we're going to dig into Intellum's AI strategy and really kind of talk through where we are today and where we think we're going. Chip, I thought maybe the right place to begin our conversation today would be around the sort of overarching approach that Intellum is taking to AI. So, I was thinking about like the fact that this has been, this is something we've been working on, like machine learning, and that approach for years and years and years. So it's not like we just started working on this. And I think there's been a really clear evolution, and that's gotten us to where we are today. So before we get into the specifics, I'd love for you to share just a little bit about like how we think about AI and what our approach is.
Man, it started, I don't know, do you remember it was like 8 years ago when we started the AI pod?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And at that time, we were building our own neural nets and things like that to be able to do things like improve search, match tags to content automatically. But you were training and fine-tuning your own models at that point. And man, we started, I can't remember which one came first. Was it the Yeah, the first one we did, so we have these retreats annually where we get everybody together, and we had this one where we had people come in, and this was a couple, 3 years maybe before COVID, a
Oh,
couple
yes.
years before, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had everybody come in, and they would go into an office and they would get on a video conference on a meet, and there was like a profile image that was there, and we're like, go talk to our new Ava, the AI, and it's going to talk to you about your personalized learning journey.
Mhm.
And we had people go into the room, and they would talk to this thing, and over a video conference, it was audio back and forth, and ask them about their background, react to what they said, talk about their interests, talk about the way they preferred to learn, and things like that. And people walked out of there. I remember specifically Andres walking out like white face with like a bead of sweat like coming down at the side of his face. He's like, "How did you do that?"
Yeah.
And so it was like that far ahead of some of these things that are kind of commonplace now. Like when you talk to GPT. Or ChatGPT.
The way we did that, by the way, is we actually.
I wasn't going to pretend like we actually had done it.
It was like 6 years ago. We actually hired voice actors, and we had them do these sessions with individual employees live, and we had like these branching scripts so that people could experience like talking about their work performance and the correlation to like what they were learning or what they should be, the content they should be taking to improve work performance, where I think some of the sweat was coming from. But it was actually, but it was all sort of in service of sounding like this uncanny, almost like AI experience. It was,
I mean, the actors were good. I mean, that was the punchline. It was actors,
Yes.
and but it was really funny how people reacted to it. And yeah, we were trying to see just how people would interact naturally with something that would seem, and it was actually a branching decision tree type of thing that we had for the actors' scripts.
How did we go from that? We're playing around with, well, not playing around. I mean, we're utilizing machine learning. We're experimenting. I mean, we do love to hire actors and we do love games, but there was real experimentation going on, especially with some of our larger clients around automation. And how did we get from that to what is our current strategy for AI? And we can talk through the 3 pillars and the vision, but there's sort of a connector, I think, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think it's like, first you have to embrace the reasoning capabilities of the models.
Yeah.
And you have to get away from deterministic thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this transition between like seeing how we would map it out if it were like choose your own adventure type of, if this, then go here, to being able to embrace the fact that the models have some reasoning capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
But the key to having this discussion-based interface and bringing it into the platform is doing so in a way that the AI can utilize the functionality of the platform.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the main, is like embrace the reasoning capabilities, and build it into the platform in a way that it can use the functionality of the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And the third sort of outlook on that is that all of these are in service of the human using the software. So you need it to be able to do it in a way that the human can have oversight, because no matter how incredible the models are right now, they still make mistakes. They still can hallucinate. They can still take you down the wrong pathway. And so it's really important, I think, to do the work and the flow of work with the human so that they can review it and make sure that the next steps are the right thing to do.
That's such a good point about the from a strategic standpoint, like us moving in a way, thinking about the human oversight piece. And let's talk for a minute about the the specifics of our strategy, there's really 3 pillars, and they are aligned with the 3 personas that we believe, make up the core of the education approach for any customer.
Well, I'm going to turn around and ask you a question. Actually, answer your question with a question.
Yeah.
As the chief experience officer and dealing a lot with the customer-facing user journey, customer journey, I feel as if we found it to be really insightful to look at the 3 main personas of users in our platform: the creators, the course author, the manager out of learning management system. The manager is the person who's going into that management system and managing the content, managing the user segmentation, the personalization, the reporting, and then the learner, who's the person who's coming to the website to learn, to master a skill or whatever it may be. I mean, I felt like that was kind of a breakthrough to realize that these are the 3 things that we're doing. And it sort of came out of what you guys were doing on the customer facing side and seeing like, these are the people we're talking to, and they're very different conversations, right?
No, I think that's totally right. I mean, they're certainly different. Personas, and that's kind of obvious. I think one place this came from was the realization, again, years and years ago, that like every single company has a content problem. And so you've got very unique needs as content creators. Sometimes they're part of the program itself. Sometimes our content creators live in other teams or function areas. They could be agencies. They live outside of the platform. Sometimes it's hard to sort of like get the creators into the platform. They're just creating content and then it's being deployed in the platform. They never see it. They don't understand what the experience is like. So there's a whole set of I think challenges and issues with creating content, creating it well, getting it into the platform.
Yeah, but when you say content problem, because that sounds like super negative, like you mean like I mean I've always assumed like what you mean by that is that that all of these teams seem to have a great deal of work ahead of them, and creating content is something that takes a lot of time and skill to do well, to get to a place of quality.
Yes.
And so it seems like a common characteristic between many of these teams is that they have more work to do than they have time in the day.
Okay, so we got creators. I think it's equally hard to be an admin, especially in a large program, fast-moving program, something with a lot of changes. You have so many daily tasks just to keep the content deployed, to manage the learners. So I think we recognize that as its own sort of persona, body work challenges.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for a very long time, and as you have as well. And it's same thing with them. It's funny, like some companies, we have teams of managers. They have teams of managers staffed on the platform with a high volume of content deployment. But sometimes you have enormous programs, enormous companies where there's a team of 1 that's adminning the platform, and it's one of many responsibilities that they have.
Yep.
And I mean, the sport team, you guys are on that side of the house, like are dealing with questions about how to do this or that. I mean, we've spent a lot of time trying to make the platform as easy to use as possible. And I think we're, leading the industry in ease of use and intuitiveness, but I still, like, how many support questions come in on a daily basis?
Oh, right. I mean, you get flooded with questions, but they're all valid questions. And a lot of them have to do with the outcome. I mean, it's like, I'm trying to get to this thing. I want to do this thing. And a given admin at any given time may not know the exact right series of steps to take to get to that outcome. But the need to understand those steps is present. It happens every day.
Yeah.
And it's just because, again, like programs are complicated, platforms are broad, and so there's just a lot of options. You say this all the time. I mean, like, a learning management system is can be an incredibly broad tool. I mean, compared to other software that's very, pointed and narrow in scope, just by its nature, especially for a platform that can, manage the three big audiences that we manage. So customers, partners, employees, all at one time. I mean, that's a huge tool, and there aren't that many huge types of tools out there. So I think being an LMS admin is like, there's a lot of work there.
No matter how easy we make it, it's a broad piece of software with a lot of functionality that can provide a lot of value. And we see often that people sometimes aren't capturing as much of the value of the platform as we want them to be able to. And so that's a constant driver for us. So that's the manager. And then on the learner side, I mean, we don't get a lot of the support side of that, but we do get a sense from our customers what they're looking for from a learner perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And
how their programs perform. I mean, we know, we learn from the customer, both what's working and then where we can make improvements. And we know it because of the performance of the program, right? So working through like learner journeys and, how we get the learner to the content as seamlessly as possible, as quickly as possible. The three personas are obvious. I think the realization was, oh man, this next thing has to be built for each one of those personas.
Because I mean, we're doing everything so the learner doesn't have to be supported at all, and the learner, but they still need to get. You have these like broad audiences, and you have these broad catalogs, and you want to get people to the thing that they need to get to with as little friction as possible, so they go directly into it. And then everything else around making the time that they spend as productive as possible, and that they, to get to mastery. So, yeah, I mean, so the three personas, and so we based our strategy around AI agents that can cater to each of those three personas.
Mm-hmm. And we're calling them that, right? I mean, we're going to, like, when you look at the future of the platform, and by future, I mean like the next 6, 8, 9 months, we'll be talking about those three agents. There's a creator agent, a manager agent, a learner agent.
Yeah. And I mean, yes. And so really, when you talk about the AI terminology too, it's like you have assistants that can do many things, and you have agents that are typically things that can do multi-step processes for you in the background. So a creator, on the creator side, if we start with that one, is an easy example of what's going on there. So creating great content is hard and time consuming. And so how do you help people, these experts or the subject matter experts or the instructional designers, to do much more with less? Well, you help them through that full process. And my belief is that you do it in the same way that they would go into the system to build the content, but at each step, you're able to help them. So for example, I have some source material, I define the course goal, the audience, the difficulty, and then I should be able to get back automatically from the AI the learning objectives for a given course. And then at that point, I'm doing that. So conversational, back and forth, learning objectives, they're on the screen where you would do it if you were building them manually.
Mm-hmm.
And then because things at that top level can have such huge compounding consequences of a negative nature if you get that wrong.
Yeah.
You need to stop there and say, okay, are these the right learning objectives? Should I change this one? Should I reorder this? Like, is this clear? Great. Now I want to make the outline of the course. I want to make the lesson plan. So boom, do that. here are the lessons that I would suggest in the different sections. Here's the assessments at these different places. Does this look good? Back and forth conversational. Looks good. Bam, it's in the course. The lesson plan is there, and you can continue to edit it. And then, but that's the same place you would do if you were manually building it out. It's just the AI is helping you to do that. It's doing it for you, doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Then I go into an activity. The learning objectives are already defined for that particular lesson. And I can refine them. I can edit them right there. But then maybe I want it to create the page of content, or I want it to create an evolve page. And it gives me an outline. I go back and forth with it. And then boom, it spits it out on the page for me. And I can refine it from there. Same thing with the assessment questions. It knows, hey, is this like a section assessment, or is this an overall course assessment? What learning objectives do I need to cover? Here are all the questions that are written to the guidelines of really sound instructional design, covering all of the learning objectives. And that issue alone, just the cover, like writing good learning objectives and having good questions that cover all of your learning objectives, that alone is something that a lot of our even really sophisticated teams struggle to have the time to do well. So it could take you through that whole user journey in the place where you would be building it, so that at every step you can check the quality of it and have oversight from someone. But our hope and what we're striving for, what we're seeing in some cases, we've seen people be able to save 70% of their time using these tools already. But we're hoping we can get it to 80, 90%. And you're using that 10% of really what matters from the expertise of the human and the human touch of it that helps it along the way.
Let me ask a question. So a lot of the experiences that we all have with AI in our personal lives, it is confident. It can even be well written, and it can be horrifically wrong.
Right.
So so we're talking about like loading source content, like tying the source content to the platform being able to create the learning objectives, create the content, create the assessments. It's a lot of stuff. And how do we make sure it's quality?
First of all, by having that oversight every step of the way. And so I think just the human oversight at each step and involving them in the process and the natural process that you would typically undergo from an instructional design perspective is a huge plus. On top of that, we're working with people that are more on the academic side, that are Harvard, MIT type people that are that have helped us to build out rubrics for each one of these pieces so that we can automate the evaluation of the output. And that automation allows us to say, does this look good? Does this meet our standards? And if it does, great. But what if we find something along the way where we're like, we want to make this change because we're seeing this repeating issue, and we want to make that prompt a little smarter. And so we could do that and use the evaluation to say it's still meeting our standards, and we can look at many different use cases and automatically evaluate with the rubric. So that's another way we're doing it. And we're doing that with content that we're building internally for ourselves, that our partners are building for customers, and that our customers are building for themselves. So we have been partnering with people to fulfill real use cases. And I think that's the only way. That's why we've launched this stuff in labs now early, so that we can work with people in real world use cases, so that we don't get into that horrible terrible hamburger
situation. To release something that's garbage.
Yeah.
And that's just like the creator agent. The next pillar is the manager agent. And so this is the admin side of the tool. What's happening there?
It's hard to get all the value out of the system. It's a broad tool with a lot of functionality, and no matter how easy we make it, it's, hard, the terminology of what this column may be called versus that, what this feature is called, how you click over to this area, where is that property? All of those things are challenges for people on a day-to-day basis, particularly when they have many different responsibilities and they're not going into the platform every day.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be great? And this is sort of my vision of enterprise software in general, the future of it, because so much of like enterprise software is just, databases with forms on top of it. But is if you could just express your intent and then the system does it for you.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. I mean, this is a lot of why we've rebuilt Evolve and the platform from the ground up, thinking about these approaches.
Yeah.
I express what I'd like to do. It knows how that matches to its functionality and where that exists. It can translate over things like just the terminology of what may be specific to the platform versus what someone may just naturally call something.
Mm-hmm.
And it can take you in, let's say, I want to enroll everyone in sales and marketing into the platform certification due in 90 days. And it can take me to the enrollments area because it knows this is an enrollment. It can launch for me the bulk enrollment dialog pre-filled out for me to confirm, yes, that looks right before anything major happens. Like, you want human oversight. You don't want to enroll 1 million people in something without being able to just check over it and say, okay, yeah, this is really what I want to do, confirm, and it's done. Reporting, how much, I mean,
so much time. Endless amounts of time. I feel like living in SQL reporting type scenarios, where you're just like trying to get to this information. And I think our reporting engine is hands down the most powerful reporting engine in the space. Still, it's a lot of time to try to get to, especially if you're writing complicated reports and trying to look at locales, and there's just a lot that goes into getting to that data.
So imagine if you can express the report that you want. Say, I want to see everybody that's taking product certification by department and their average progress and an average score or something like that. And you just say that, and it can tee it up for you. I mean, imagine if you can do that kind of thing with natural language. And those are the types of intents that we're working on the manager side, so that you can just see it, say it, and see it work for you. So that's the manager agent, is imagine making that something that you can express the intent, and it shows you, gives you some level of control and confirmation, but does most of the heavy lifting for you.
Across the board. Not just with reporting, and not just, we're talking about group management, user management, like communicate now, like letters and communication. Just being able to say anything, any task you need to do on a daily basis, and having it do it for you.
Yeah, like, you just imagine the manager homepage. The thing that we're doing and what we're enabling in labs is each one of those tiles. So there'll be where maybe users or groups or enrollments or letter triggers or auto enrollments and each one of those tiles has been rebuilt as a module, and the AI sits on top of it and helps you when you're in that module. That's what's being released in labs, so that people can already start. We already have enrollments and others that are coming out now. That you can go in and you can start to play with, so you can see it and you can start getting the value out of it today.
And I think what you just were talking about is a really important point, that we're thinking about that, especially on the manager side. We're thinking about all of those experiences in that new tile format. Those tiles are rolling out. We're not waiting for some big delivery here. And your point about things being in labs, which I want our customers to take advantage of. There's a lot of opportunity with labs, and I'm really encouraging customers right now to like spend time thinking through how they're going to experiment and test this stuff. I mean, these are going to roll out consistently so that we're not waiting for some future state product. You can start doing this stuff today with the tiles that are available in labs and begin figuring out how you're going to work this kind of AI approach into your day-to-day workflow. And I think that's a unique way to do this. We're not seeing that approach anywhere else in the industry. Our competitors don't do it that way. They release big bolt-on kind of, AI solutions, the meat grinder thing, and I love the way we're doing this like step by step and rolling it out now.
Yeah. I mean, so we're maintaining the core technology.
Yeah.
Which is like the thing that's already scaled and been battle tested on some of the biggest, like best implementations in the world. Like we're the business logic, like underpinnings of what we're doing stays the same. But what we have rebuilt is the user experience.
Yeah.
Whether that's the creator experience or the manager experience or learner experience. And so that and the API that drives that, that's the thing that's been rebuilt so that AI can sit on top of it and interact with it in these really interesting ways, in ways that others can't when they're just bolting it on. And so creators, something you can turn on and use today. Manager tiles, there are already a number that are out and more that are coming every couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go and you can turn them on and use them and start to see these concepts and leverage these concepts to save time and today. Yeah, I think that's a really important point. And we're partnering with our customers to make sure that it's adding the value that we believe it can. And that's a really big difference too. I think it has to be a partnership thing. These are new approaches. A lot of what we've done over the years, like we've had 25 years to build up the expertise to do things really well. And this is new technology being put into place. You don't get it like perfect right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Like we're still iterating on the content quality on the creator. We're still making sure that these natural language queries are performing in ways that delight people.
Yeah.
And it's an iterative, many different use cases, et cetera, that you have to throw against these things to ensure that they're getting to a level of quality that delivers the value that our customers deserve.
I think that's another really, really strong differentiator here in terms of how we're doing this. I think it's going to make things much more usable by our customers. And so the third agent then is the learner agent. So tell me a little bit about just where we think the learner agent is going and what the experience will be like.
So learner agent, I mean, it boils down to just the simple research that I think everyone knows at this point, which is that personalized tutoring outperforms in both the level of mastery, the amount that people learn, and the time to mastery.
Yeah.
So people learn more in less time with personalized tutoring than they do in scaled environments. And the promise of ed tech and online learning was that we'd be able to personalize to a certain level and get to this differentiation that allows that to happen. So the underpinnings of why personalized tutoring or a personal tutor gets you there faster is that you're in a scaled environment and you typically learn at the pace of those around you. Like the class is only going to go as quickly as essentially the slowest student on a certain subject. And so you're sitting there and maybe 75% of the class time, you're already aware of what's going on, but that 25% you don't know as well and you want to dig deeper on, but there's not enough time because you had to spend 75 making sure that everybody understood the other. So this idea of differentiated learning as facilitated by personalized tutors and just understanding exactly where the student is and tailoring the content to that student is the whole concept around tutoring. And so from a learner journey perspective, from a learner agent perspective, the first is, okay, I come into the platform, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit of, we don't want to put a lot of information that we have to capture in a registration page, because you get drop off for those external platforms like self sign up type programs. But even for internal audiences, sometimes the information that we get from the HRS system is not enough to really help to personalize that journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to get performance data in the right fashion. So, some really simple open-ended questions with the data that we already know can help to match, understand the user well, understand that what's in the catalog well, and then use its reasoning capabilities to say, these are the things that I think are best for you in this order, and here's why. And then you can accept it, and boom, there's your personalized learning journey. And then once you get into the content, it's like, hey, I'm reading something, I don't completely understand that. I want to dig deeper into this thing. Or I went to the assessment, I missed some questions, I don't understand why. Talk about that. And so you can rabbit hole in these concepts and dig deeper with the AI. And so those are part of it. And then there's also like the later, that's the more immediate. Those are the features that are coming out, including also functionality that allows I don't know about you, like are you using mostly like ChatGPT search and like Google Gemini type search these days? Or are you still using like traditional like search?
No. I want I want AI generated search results. Like sometimes the reality is I use ChatGPT like a search engine. I only want to read the Gemini driven, like search result, like on the Google homepage. So I want to see the AI, I'm reading the AI response. I'm not really even scrolling down the page anymore. And then I rely on Gemini for the same kind of stuff I do with ChatGPT.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I am. I guess maybe we could be early adopters, but I am seeing that as rapidly becoming an expectation.
Yes.
And so you don't want just basic traditional search, which has always been difficult to get right. You want this reasoning layer where you can type something in. Maybe you are just typing something that's close to the title of the course, but essentially replacing search with the AI mode, with the AI search. And that gives you two capabilities. So the AI knows what's in the catalog that you have access to. So it can give you recommendations that match whatever you're talking about. If you're expressing an intent that seems like you're looking for something in the catalog, looking for content, then there's another type of intent within that same sort of search experience where you're asking a question. And so you're asking, like, how do you run a report in the Intellum platform or something like that? And if you were to ask that question, it can see any of the content that you have access to, and it understands that content. So it can answer that question from the content that is within the platform, and then it can also give you a source link so that you can go and dig deeper inside the curriculum itself. So personalized learning, search, and these abilities to dig deeper in course content and assessment reports are the immediate things that are coming out in labs. Some are already out, some are coming very soon, and then the longer term is getting to a place where we're really condensing the information that we put in front of the user and that we test the user on, that's based specifically around where they are.
All right, so we got these three agents. We've got a creator agent for our content creators. We've got a manager agent that's going to streamline, improve, better support our admin. We've got a learner agent that's going to change the way that these learners are getting to the content that they need or that they're looking for. How does all of that, though, you got these three things, how's that kind of come together? Like, and what is the next thing? It's like these are three specific agents. We're sometimes talking about a new tool. Sidebar, we just launched a brand new Evolve, a separate,
Yeah.
a new tool. New Evolve is a new tool built from the ground up for AI. So how does all of this like come together?
Well, ultimately, we rebuilt them from the ground up so the agents can interact with them in ways that they couldn't if you just sort of bolted it on. So that's it all comes together, though. We released the brand new Evolve, completely rewritten. It's
Simplified.
fantastic, like really amazing. It's like everybody that's used Evolve in the past, it's all the power that you're used to in Evolve, but like way easier even to author. So I'd say it's one of the easiest now authoring tools to use, still as powerful as it used to be, and then it has all those great collaboration features. So new Evolve, and it's been rebuilt so that the file structure is easier to use with AI. So part of the rebuild was that the underlying data layer is easier for AI to understand, easier for AI to interact with. And on the management, the manager and the learner, those really are kind of like two different apps, even though it's one app. So that full experience of the manager, as the tiles are completed, it will be released early next year as a fully new manager app. But you're getting the tiles now in the current app,
Right.
and then all of it comes together in a full new platform release. We have some big things coming on the courses, the way that we handle courses, that's around, right now, where we have the collections, paths, and activities is all coming together in a courses tile. And that will be part of the new learning management system. But the AI tiles are already starting to come out now. And then lastly, the whole learner experience has been rebuilt as well. So we can have this assistant tutor that can interact with everything on the page and understand the context that it's in. And that will come out with the brand new learning management system launch early next year.
Okay.
And those pieces of like the search and the personalized learning and the being able to rabbit hole on content and assessments and the other features are going to be labs features as well that you can turn on in the current version of the platform, but it's using the new interfaces that we're building at each one of those steps.
We also are having a lot of conversations with partners right now about the vast amount of data that lives in Evolve and the Intellum platform. And there's what we're hearing is that we have more data than other platforms have. We have access to more data than other platforms have. Evolve gives you, all drill down all the way to the specific interaction. Greg opened this accordion, he clicked on this option, like we have just an enormous amount of data that is ideally suited for our customers' broader AI strategies, not just inside the education team, but like what is the company's AI strategy? So talk about that for a minute.
Well, yeah, I mean, so we have the authoring inside of the platform, which is I think fantastic and very capable, and the assessment tool and all of that. But on top of that, we have Evolve, which is arguably the best authoring tool out in the market, and it's built in with the platform. Nobody else has that at all. So what that allows us to do, and we can do this with our internally created content. We can do this to some extent with standards-based content, but when you're talking about either the stuff that's built inside of our platform or within Evolve, we're tracking the click level learner journey all the way through the platform. That's all the way from login, homepage, and say you use search and click, and then or use your personalized learning journey, and you figure that out, then click and into here, and then elements like Greg clicked on this accordion and expanded it. Greg answered this question correctly. And so we're doing event level tracking across the entire learner journey. And then because it's our file, like this is where XAPI kind of falls apart. And certainly AICC and SCORM can't handle this because just it doesn't have enough data to really know. We have the elements themselves that the person has clicked on or are engaged in the structured file format. And so we can connect that semantic event level data to the actual element from the data file. And we can put all of that up into our sort of data connector and our data tools that creates this data layer that it's kind of like for AI, what the equivalent a data warehouse is to BI
Yes.
is the equivalent of what this AI data layer is to agents.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's our agent, we can use that. But our customers are now, and our partners are trying to build their own agents and build them into their workflows, like in the flow of work.
Yeah.
So you can imagine something like someone working at a call center, and they have a call. AI looks at the call and they're like, oh, that could have gone a little bit better. Well, how could have that gone better? Well, let me go look at the AI data layer that is coming from our education resources. And I can see, ooh, it looks like this content would be really good for this person right now. I'm going to surface it to them. And then I'm also going to say that that they can go check this course out if they want to dig deeper into it inside of the learning platform. It's that kind of stuff that you can do when you bring this interconnected data up to that AI data layer that agents can understand in this, like vectorized, like RAG type approach.
Man, we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this because I don't want to wrap it up, but I think we've reached our time limit. They're gonna make us stop talking. So I just want to say one more time, thank you to everybody that's joining us today. We're really excited to have you here. I know that there is a great full day's worth of content coming next. So we're gonna hand it back off. Thanks everybody for joining us.
What a great way to start our day. I always love hearing from Chip. He's such a visionary and innovative thinker. I hope you all were able to take something away from that session. If you're still navigating AI and wondering what it means for you and your organization, you're in good company and you're certainly not alone. We've put together a learning leader's guide for AI, which is a practical resource to help you understand what's happening, what to watch for, and how to apply it to your work. So in just a moment, you'll see a QR code on your screen, and you can scan it to access the guide and dive deeper into this topic. I'll give you just a moment to go ahead and scan that. Now, one of my favorite parts of the ELG Summit is recognizing the organizations that are proving just how powerful education can be in driving business impact. So each year, our Growth Makers Awards celebrate companies that are setting the standard for using education to fuel growth, retention, performance, and efficiency. And these are the 4 pillars of the education-led growth framework. These programs don't just support leaders, they transform the way the entire industry thinks about success of education. This year, we are so excited to recognize the following 5 incredible winners. First up, we have Atlassian, recognized for Best Overall. They're honored for delivering measurable impact across growth, retention, performance, and cost reduction. Next up, we have Pinterest Academy, recognized as our leader in growth. They have driven significant increases in user satisfaction, badge earnings, and active user count. Next, we have Meta Blueprint, our leader in retention, a back-to-back winner celebrated for keeping users engaged, satisfied, and empowered. Next, we have Kinesso, our leader in performance. They are also a 2-time awardee this year for improving time to value and enabling faster onboarding. And last but not least, we have the American Arbitration Association, recognized as a leader in cost reduction. They have developed an AI certification course that increases team efficiency and decreases manual work. Please join us in recognizing these growth makers. These leaders are truly showing us what's possible when education is treated as a business growth engine. And with that, we're going to close our opening session. We can't wait for you to learn and connect and be inspired throughout the day. So remember our invitation for you all to participate in the chat. And don't miss this next session on personalizing learning with AI. You'll see the link in the chat to join us. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.